I can do anything I wanted as long as I put my mind to it. And I grew up believing that.
Okay, welcome to another edition of the Journey to Freedom podcast. This is my favorite podcast to do. It's a podcast that I do because I get to interview like some amazing people who are making impact in their communities. They're making impact for the people they interact with, and they just do such a phenomenal job of the lives that they live. And today, I actually have one of my friends. His name's John Lewis, and he's from the Georgia area. He's, whether it's close to Atlanta or far from Atlanta, he is making it happen. He has been in the financial side of things for a long time and making the kind of money that some of us wish that we can make sometimes. That he's overcome challenges, overcome the things that some of us go, I don't know how to get through that. And that's why I'm so excited to be part of this. I was just telling him, as we're going to take 14 men this next January to do our civil rights tour, and the find out about the shoulders of the giants that we've been standing on. Find out about what our culture has said that who we are and our identity as we go through it. And then how do we mix that up and change that so that we can become the people that we need to be, that God has created us to be? Because when you are in purpose, when you are doing the things that He has put you on this earth to do, not only are you happy, things start working right, you mix it up and things happen. I'm not saying you're going to stay with the same people all the time. I'm not going to say you're going to create all the same relationships all the time. But what I am going to say is you are going to pursue what God has for you. Then you're just kind of living in that zone. We talk about that zone all the time. And sometimes what we try to do as individuals is if we haven't found that zone, we try to live somebody else's greatness or somebody else's zone, evidenced by, some of our favorite football players or some of our favorite singers or some of our favorite actors. We say, hey, you put their name on the back in their jersey and you go like, yes, I am this person's fan. I'm their number one fan. I follow them all around. I can tell you all the stats about, how many free throws they shot or how many 3-point shots they shot. And you can, how many touchdowns they did that year. And then you say, well, what school does your granddaughter go to? And they go, oh, man, I don't know. And so the point is what you are to live your greatness. That is what God put you on here to do. And so, John's on today. He's living in his greatness. He's living in his purpose. He's doing the things that he loves doing. And as a result, he's impacting people. So, John, thank you for being on today. Thank you for being part of the show. Excited to talk to you. I'm hoping that you will get in and we'll talk about your life where it's at now. But before we do that, let's start out with where your life has been. And you can start anywhere in your life. You can start up with your upbringing, where you grew up, that type of stuff, and then go into the things that you're doing now. So you take as long as you need, and let's chop it up.
Oh man, Brian, thank you for having me. I'm excited to do this with you. When I got the call to do it, of course, it's Brian Arnold, and I'm always like, I'm happy to do anything I can to help. Thank you for having me and doing this. I'm super excited to be with you. We haven't spoken in a while, so I'm happy to see you. You're doing well. You're breathing, brother, and much appreciated. Much appreciated, man. I just say any day above ground is a great day, and this is indeed a great day. Well, man, to be honest with you, I was raised in New York. And went to high school. My parents actually, believe it or not, in the middle of my senior year in high school, moved to Wilmington, North Carolina. And needless to say, I was very unhappy about that move. So I ended up, stupidly thinking if I joined the military that they would allow me to stay in, like delayed entry program. They would have allowed me to stay up in New York where I was going to school, obviously where all my friends were and everything. That didn't work, man. Me and a buddy of mine ended up joining together in the debt program, buddy system. I ended up going, and he didn't.
Oh, okay.
And late, we didn't find out. We didn't find out until later in life. You know what I'm saying? So we pretty much got disconnected. We grew up together. Our families, from the '60s. His mother, my dad, basically were teenagers together, and we're friends to this day. And I tell you, I went in the military. I would say it was a great experience for me, but I got hurt. I got into a car accident and I was discharged medically. And that was I had to turn page on that chapter. Then I went to school, and I actually moved to Georgia for school. Okay. And while in school, I had a friend of mine, whose brother had opened a mortgage company. And this guy, named Keith, came to me and made me a proposition. He told me, John, I'm gonna create an IRS problem for you. You're going to make so much money. Now, Brian, I want you to think, a 22, 23-year-old being told that, man,
sign me up.
Let me tell you, boy, I went in head first, man. And I helped this guy build the company and it was, for a few years we had a good thing going. Until he decided to sell the company and leave me out.
Oh no.
Yeah. So it started out with four of us, and man, I was traveling. I opened offices in Florida, Alabama, Kentucky, Tennessee, Virginia, and I would travel to all these different places. What? Yeah. And this was the early 90s, mind you. And this is gonna shock you, where the days of how we have it right now. Technology is so wonderful. We just send a link to people and they fill it out. But back in those days, man, it was all paper, man. We had to handwrite application. We had to manually figure out mortgage payments. You had to know the formula and everything. So
remember those calculators? Those
yes. Right now, believe it or not, that same calculator you're talking about, the TI, is about $180, close to $200 today. Okay, and the formula was so convoluted to do. You had to be a mathematician to program it, But those were the days where we were given one 1003, 3 pages, bro, 3 pages, and this man okay, go get apps, and that's how we had to do it back then. And I remember fax machines. Remember the little roller? You did that, man. So I've been in the business since. And after Rodney did that to me, it made me realize, I can do this.
Yeah,
I can do this. So I buckled down. I buckled down and wrote a business plan, man. First, I traveled, country trying to raise venture capital. Unfortunately, it was at the time when technology was booming in the late 90s, early 2000s, and everything. So I ended up did a loan for a client. It was a jumbo loan at the time. It was 1.2, 1.3 million. You know what I'm saying? So I took the commissions from that and basically started my own company.
Okay.
And did that for about 12 years until 2007, 2008, when the market kind of went under. And now all these different cycles, Brian, I've been in. You know, when subprime, the 125, the Title One loans. You know, we did all that stuff, man. And really, to be honest with you, the main I guess the anchor to this has always been for me was helping people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wanted to help people, and that's something that's in my heart, it's in my soul. You know, whenever I think, oh gee, you could be doing something else, you know, it just pulls me back. You know what I'm saying? I had a client, you know, I'm not gonna put out his name, but his name was Rick. You know, his true name, pseudonym is Rick. Rick came to me. He said he was a carpet cleaner, and his wife was you know, he said to me, John, you've seen my wife. She's beautiful. She could be with anybody else,
Mm-hmm.
but she chose me, and she asked me for a home. And that's all I wanted that's all I want to do is give her a home, you know. And Brian, you'd have thought this woman wanted a $500,000 home back then.
Mm-hmm.
It was a $54,000 house.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And he had gone all these different places, and everybody kept telling him no. And I told him I would help him. And Brian, you know, maybe a month and a half, 2 months, it's been so long ago, but he went to the closing table. I watched this man, this 6'3", 6'4" guy, big guy, you know, cry at the table.
The table. Wow.
And I looked at that, and you know, and I said, this is what I want to do. You know, and it's something to watch somebody to be impactful in somebody's life, you know. And they're signing a mortgage 30 years of their lives, you know, and they're happy to do it. And I play a role in that. That's where I get my satisfaction. You know, I enjoy it. I could sit and talk to people all day, all night. My family understands, you know, no matter what, I'm here to help people. So I may get a call at 8:30. I'm at the dinner table. That's happened multiple times. And you know, and I will stop. I will walk to the office and conversate and help whoever I can. You know, so you know, that covers about maybe 75% of the career. Now I'm you know, an originating branch manager for City Mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the same thing in the Atlanta area. I cover Georgia, Florida, and Alabama. Okay. And you know, and pretty much wherever I can help people, I help those where everybody else say no to. Mm-hmm. You know, and they come to me with the special circumstances. You know, Brian, you know the business. We don't do anything different, but somehow, some way, you know, I tend to figure things out what other people can't figure out. And so that's I do that, and I put my best foot forward. And you know, I promise, I don't guarantee, I give you my word, and my word is my honor, you know. And I try 100% of the time to deliver. Does it work all the time? No, it doesn't. But it works. It works. One thing I'm proud of, Brian, is I don't know anybody that could tell you they've worked with 3 generations in one family.
3 generations.
Yes, okay. I've helped a grandmother,
okay,
a daughter, and a granddaughter.
Nice.
In the same lifetime. Wow. You know, so that's a wonderful feeling, man. I remember this little girl when she was in high school, 14, 15 years old, when I was doing her grandmother's loan, and then her mother. And then years later, she's working at Costco, and she saw me, and she called me, like, I think like maybe 2 years later. Her and her husband, she had 3 kids, and wanted to buy a house. Man, if my heart was filled. My heart was filled.
That's awesome.
So I'm here, Brian, to basically help to put together what others cannot.
I love that. Well, when we think about your identity and who you are, like if I were to say, how does John Lewis define himself? And you've gone, you talk about your career, willing to help people, but I also know you're a father. I also know that you're a husband. I also know you're a community leader. What when you think about that identity, you came from New York.
Mm-hmm.
Other folks that were in your same neighborhood that you grew up with didn't end up like you did. What do you think happened in there that changed your identity, that allowed you to be able to pursue things that were possible when others weren't?
Brian, I have to say it started with my dad. Believe it or not, my father. My father was a machinist at a newspaper company, but what he instilled in me was I can do anything I wanted as long as I put my mind to it. I can do, and I grew up believing that. I grew up, and now I can say I know that. You know what I'm saying? I try to tell my kids. I started to tell my kids the same thing. You know, you can achieve anything as long as you put your mind to it. I you know I don't. I start telling them I don't believe it. I don't have belief in it anymore. I have knowledge of it. I'm
Mm,
saying. And
mm,
so the
that's
word not, it's not believing, okay? It's knowing, it's living in the know, seeing it and making it happen. I just told my son the other day, don't try anything, son. Don't try. Just do. Because when you try and you fail, you create you're automatically you create an excuse as to
yeah.
why things didn't happen. But if you just do it, it happens. And so and in life we make adjustments. Things going to work out 100% of the time? No. But see, you are the director, you're the writer, you're the actor in your own play. You create the environment that you want, and
Mm-hmm.
it all starts here. If
Yeah.
it's here, and then it just projects. So I live in the know. I live in the knowledge of self, knowing that I'm going, whatever it is I'm going to do, I'm going to do it. Period.
Mhm. Well,
And
yeah. I was just saying, like you use that word try. When you try something, you've already given yourself an excuse why it
boom,
won't, right?
exactly.
Already said, "Oh, if I just try it and I don't do it, it wasn't my fault. It wasn't something that was
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't something." And yeah, I mean that's tough to live your life like that,
Exactly.
trying everything because you've already decided that it won't work before you even
You
started.
you have programmed yourself for failure,
Mhm.
because your brain, believe it or not, when you speak the words, your brain starts developing synapses to take you that route.
Mhm.
And a lot of people like to look at the finished products and be proud and like, oh man, this is wonderful, wonderful, but they don't know what you went through to get there. And they look at the finished product, and it looks all beautiful, but no, you got to look at the journey. And that to me is what I myself, what I live by, is in the journey. Yes, is it hard? Yes, it's hard, but you know what, as long as you learn from those things, you're only getting better. You're
Yeah.
only getting better every time. Every time. You're a different person every time.
So as a black man, and
Mm-hmm.
that's Journey to Freedom kind of deals with our past. There had to be in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, some barriers that you had to overcome, maybe different than your
Absolutely.
counterparts. How is it that you were able to navigate that? Or what are some of the things you were able to do that allowed you to not be stuck where others were or have been?
Brian, it is in having a wonderful, wonderful wife,
Okay.
okay, and having a support system because we are not taught to show emotion. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
life as it is hard, but for us it tends to be a little bit harder because of what we're having to deal with. Okay, we can have this more experience, we can have, more everything, but yet we're overlooked a lot of the time. That is, you can look at the statistics. A lot of people can choose to deny them, but they're there.
Yeah.
I am one that sees that, recognize that, and realize I can't do anything about that. I can only focus on me, okay? And no, as long as I keep moving, I'm not, I can only go up. So I let my haters basically help me. I had a mentor tell me one time, as long as when they knock you down, you don't fall on your back.
Mm-hmm.
Never fall on your back. Okay? Fall on your feet.
Fall on your
And
feet.
then never stop moving. Literally. He was an older guy. He was 60, 66 at the time. And I was in my early 30s. He said, John, as long as you don't stop moving, just keep moving. All the dirt that they throw on you,
Mm-hmm.
you're brushing them off. You're brushing them. And eventually they will throw enough dirt on you to dig you out of whatever hole they put in for you. So I live by that, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
I get down sometimes. I get down sometimes, but then I have my imagination. I start thinking what life would be like once I do achieve this, once I do it, and that keeps me going.
Gotcha. You mentioned something in the last thing you were saying about having a mentor.
Mhm.
How have, when we think about our identity, um, how have mentors played? You had your dad, you had another mentor. How have they played a role in your life that's allowed you to become successful? Were those important, or you just tried to do it on
Dude,
your own?
there, for a long time, I got a good buddy of mine to this day. We've been friends for over 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes we think, when in our early 20s, had we had somebody that went through what we went through, that could, kind of help us through and navigate through and everything. He was a young father, and he nobody to show you right from wrong or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I got lucky in my late and no in my late 20s, early 30s, where I just attached myself. Man, I can only say, there was something in this world that put this man in my life, that like he wanted to teach me. He saw something in me, and again, he started out being a client. Started
Okay.
out being a client,
Mm-hmm.
and fell in love with me, and was like, and he started drilling these things into me. I used to hang at this guy, at his feet, like you wouldn't believe. I would take my Saturdays, and I would just hang out with him. Through him, I met the governor, I met the mayor, I met some people in the King family, I met some civil rights activists.
Wow.
I met, oh man, just sitting at a lunch. This guy took me to lunch one day, and you see that one right there. Oh, that's this person, that's that person, and you know, and he would introduce me to these people, man, and I was in awe, you know, I was in awe, you know.
Oh,
So you know, he kind of taught me a lot, you
yeah.
know, in terms of success, in terms of, you know, what how to navigate some
Mhm.
things. And so he was in my life for a very short period. So I've been able to take pretty much that and kind of build on it, you know. And so he's taught me some things that I live by to this day. You know, my father, thank God I still have my dad, you know what I'm saying. I can call on my dad. It's not nothing to do with business, nothing, but man, is he a valuable asset to me, you know, just to be able to call him and say, hey dad, hey pop, how you doing, love you man, you know. And that's another thing. When we're growing up, Brian,
Mhm.
I don't know if it was like that for you, but for me, I don't remember being 15, 16, 12 saying I love you to my dad.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? And I saw in your questions, part of it was trauma. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? What is it that about us that we're not able to show our emotions like that, or we it just didn't happen. Man,
Mhm.
I'll be honest with you. I can't remember. I can't remember. You know, whether it be my 20s, probably my 30s, where, you know, I felt comfortable with telling my dad I loved him,
Wow.
you know. and
Mhm.
and in thinking about it now, being where I am in life, you know what I'm saying, I'm like, wow, that 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 is not cool. That is not cool. And I'll be honest, the if I didn't get anything out of that, I tell you what, every day, my kids, my family, if I don't have some physical touch from them, I believe there's something, my DNA is disrupted, Brian.
That's so cool.
And my kids, and I'll tell them,
Mhm.
I didn't get a hug today. You know what I'm saying? And I gotta have that. I gotta have that. And you know, I you know, call it my battery, my battery.
Mhm.
I gotta be
Gotta charge it.
recharged.
Gotta
You
be
know what I'm
charged.
saying? And that's how that works with me, at least in my house.
Well, and it makes so much sense. I mean, I think that's how God created us, right? He created us for a relationship. He created us for loving relationships. I think a lot of it, you know, if we can go back to, you know, men being taken out of our families, you know, whether it was, you know, way back when it was, you know,
Hmm.
men being taken, you know, being sold away from their families after they created them, or, you know, as recently as not too long ago when we had laws that said, you know, if you want to get by and be able to raise your kids when there's hardly any jobs, then you can't live with your
Yeah,
spouse, your wife.
yes. And and you see, and people don't understand that. You know, unless you've lived it, you
Mhm.
will never understand that. See, that is something that's going to be generational. That's, you know, and the powers that be, that system. I got to tell you, man, they knew what they were doing,
Of course.
because disrupting the family dynamics is was huge. Okay. And it think about that, the trauma for both, for everybody. That man, he could not be in that house. Okay. Now that woman had to do the job of a mother and father. Okay. I often say there's a reason why women today are the way they are,
Mhm.
because they've had to change. You know what I'm saying? It's one thing when you have to deal with the cards that you're dealt in life, but it's another thing when you have to evolve. You see what I'm saying? Where you now,
Mhm.
because dad is not there, you know, now, you know, you're raising that little boy, you know what I'm saying, needs his father. Just
Absolutely.
look like little girls. Little girls need, you know, we are needed, but a lot of us didn't have that. So you didn't have a roadmap. You did not have a plan set out for you. Whereas on the other side, they did. They do. You know, we've got to deal that you've got to deal with that. You've got to deal with that, and then you can start the healing process. And quite frankly, it doesn't take it doesn't take it's going to take more than probably a generation. You know what I'm saying? It starts like with guys like you and me, okay, with my son, with my daughter, showing them an example of a man, example of a father, okay, and how we behave with one another, how we live, and then you start to break that curse. But a lot of us, especially in yours and my generation, dude, man, I could tell you stories my father told me back in the 70s, man, where it literally was taking 5 jobs for him to get by. My dad, one time, give you this short one. He worked, one of the jobs was a bakery. Okay. He would work maybe 4 or 5 hours. One day, he worked for 3 hours. There was no more work. So the gentleman sent him home, and he literally gave him $3. He said, "Go ahead, take the risk." He didn't even have to wait till Friday's payday. He gave him the $3, man. This is what we had to deal with.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And so it's to from that to today, what we're doing, we've made great strides, great strides. But we're nowhere near where we need to be, where we could be, should be. But as long as we don't stop, we keep moving, we're gonna do. I fully expect that my kids, my son, will have a lot more opportunities than I did, than my father did. You know what I'm saying? And so on and so forth.
Wow. I mean, when I think about that, and you said that, sons and daughters need their dads. But I also think of that in the reverse of how much dads need their kids. How much we need to, if we're looking for purpose and we're looking for freedom and we're looking for journey, God's created us to protect and to provide and to do all the things. You take that away from us. You take us away from being able to provide for our family, being able to, protect our family, to be able to be there for our family. And then we wonder why we have such mass incarceration, because we weren't able to do the thing that we were put on earth to do. And you go,
Exactly.
oh my gosh. And then we erode this trust, right? Because now we've been pulled out, and we start not only to trust the people that are around us in communities outside of us, we stop trusting each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like for you, when you think about the word trust, or you think about who you had to trust along the way, because there's going to be pitfalls, there's going to be people. Are you
Absolutely.
a type of person who says, I'm going to trust you till you prove me wrong? Or are you the person who says, I'm not trusting you at all, and then you're going to have to earn my trust? Or is there some kind of hybrid in there? And that's all based on our identity, right? How many times we've been wronged, how many times we've fallen down and we didn't land on our feet, as you said, we landed flat on our
Mm-hmm.
face. And now we go, well, I'm not trusting nobody ever. And now we say, okay, so I got money, but I don't know what to do with it because I can't trust anybody that knows what to do with it to help me.
Well, you see and that's one. Oh my God. Brian, as you were talking, I'm sitting here. I'm saying to myself, this cannot be a one parter. This needs to be dove into in several sessions. But to what you're alluding to is yes, we do need that. But when the thing is, this it's a system that has to be destroyed. Okay. And with me is Yeah, I'm going to tell you, I am kind of sort of a hybrid. Okay, I look at I look at your character. I look at, basically I trust and I verify, and then I still have my guards up.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? In other words, I never go into a place that I don't see at least three ways to get out of. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's my protection barrier.
The
You see what I'm
filter, yeah,
saying?
that you put
My
everything in. Yeah.
so in that I will, but I'm always like I got my antennas up. Give you an example. Yesterday I'm just watering my grass. I'm going to the front yard. My next door neighbor, I didn't see him there. So I walked past the flowers. He tried to spray me with the hose. But get this though, I am like oblivious, dude. I'm like walking, dude. I'm,
Yeah, you're
hunky
doing your thing.
dory, and I hear it, and I'm thinking it was birds because the water hit the plant,
Mm-hmm.
and I jumped. I thought it was birds, and but I later find out it was him trying to spray me and being jovial. And right then and there, I said to myself, you see, this is what happens when you're too comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? You're too comfortable. Your guards were down, and boom. You see, and I got that moment right there. That was a lesson for me, man. Believe it or not, that simple. Because I am so programmed to keep myself protected. You see, it's hard to let you in,
Mm-hmm.
okay, because everybody, not everybody's how not everybody's here to help you. You see what I'm saying? So my thing is, I I will allow you to come in,
Mm-hmm.
basically, but the whole time I'm very cautious. I'm very cautious, and I don't fully let my guards down because I have people counting on me.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And it's a, I don't want to say it's a sad way to live, but it's not the way it's supposed to be. Okay. And when you don't when the trust system is questionable, okay, it's a problem for everybody. And I can't, if I feel that way, there's more people that feel this way. So you got all these people. Let's say I am a wealthy guy, but my money can't multiply because I don't trust anybody, because everybody's out to get you. Everybody, nobody has any principles. You know what I'm saying? That is why I tell you I live by my words. Okay. My word is my bond. If I tell you I'm gonna do something, I do it. If I can't do it, I'll let you know.
Gotcha. Well, it's so important. You think of, I think of a barbershop when I start having this conversation, and the barbershop that we go to, and everything's so superficial. Everything is about the world and what's going on. I liken to the Coming to America, where they're talking about Muhammad Ali, and at the barbershop. And I think, well, how do we get to a point when we're vulnerable enough in situations or in rooms or in groups that we put ourselves in that allow us to be able to ask those questions and that we really need answer? Like, this, we'll use money as an example, right? I'm drowning. I don't know what to do. I've made some bad decisions. I don't know how to get out of it. I'm sitting in this room with people who probably went through a lot of the same things that I went through, but they got out of it. But instead of me being able to talk to them and say, what did you do? What are some things that that helped you not be in the situation I am? We just sit there and we talk about, somebody else famous or something, and
Nonchalant things.
we just struggle. And then 20 years later, we've dug ourselves this hole that it might be too late to get out of, or it's harder to get out of, when we could have just asked 20 years
I-
ago and they would have done everything in their power to help us.
See,
How do we evolve in that respect to
see,
find those
but
people that we can trust?
I think I think people like you, people like me, needs to there. We need to find a way to clone ourselves, to multiply ourselves. Okay, because the one thing is, you're right, and part of it is the shame of it. And then you got like I said, you got the one side that have been through it, that have made it, but now they are so, they're, all of their antennas are up. They have so much, they are so guarded that they won't let you in, because it was so hard for them to get this. Now there's, it, man, it's not that we don't make money. We make money, man. It's just that we don't have enough of the education to show us what to do with that. It's the same thing with everything else. Okay, like the barbershop. You go to the barbershop, you see that there's the stigma that's attached to that. Oh, if he knows what I'm going through, then oh my, everybody's gonna know. Like, it's like we have to get over that shame. We have to get over that we have to get over ourselves. Okay, first, then we have to be able to ask for help, and then you got to ask for help, and then you got to hope that the person that, or the entity that you're asking for help, is trustworthy, has your best interest at heart in all of these things. And that they don't take you for granted, and take your story and put it out for the rest of the world to now have something against you, destroy you. Okay, and that's the problem. See, we don't have any of that, and if we do, it's very scarce. It's very scarce, and it's very, very elitist, like way up at the top. You know what I'm saying? It's like, do you know how many people that that we have that are successful, but they're so few and far between that we can even get to them. You see what I'm saying? And so now we're out here, and trying to survive in a system that's meant for us not to succeed. In every which way. Like I said, this is a longer thing.
Well, even what you just said, you talked about the shame of it, and you talked about, well, if everybody knows what I'm going through, then somehow I'm a lesser person. But what I think we don't realize as Black men is, especially if we have wives that love us and want the best for us, I promise, especially if you're having trouble in relationships, you're having trouble, everybody already knows. They are there telling everybody your business, and so you think you hiding something, right?
Well, see, that's the thing. And you see, and it's the shame of it. It's like, oh my God, we're so worried about what other people think, man. You know what I'm saying? And not we're it's to our detriment. Oftentimes than not, you know what I'm saying? That if so and so knows this, oh my God, oh no, man, we have got to get over that, and we need that community. Okay, we need that community where we can go to. Okay, and Brian, we do, and we're the only people that don't. Okay, we don't control anything. Not our education, not our finances, okay, not our food, not our medical, and the four pillars that you need in a community, we have no control over. Okay, so what do you expect? Everybody can come in and basically take everything, take all your resources. You know what I'm saying? I was just talking to my mother-in-law yesterday, or a few days ago. How do we allow ourselves, fried chicken? Okay, you let the Asian man come into your neighborhood, fry up your chicken when nobody else can fry chicken like you.
Like, no.
But you let him come in there. Now you giving him your money.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
And in that sense, we need to, and you see, and Brian, this is one of those things, man. It it took so many years of destruction. It took so many years that it's going to take a lot longer to repair all of this. You see what I'm saying? And we have to build, not re. We have to build our community.
Mm-hmm.
We have to learn to like stand up for each other and help each other. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so when I make it, I make sure I pull. I have two hands as I'm making it. I'm pulling two. If each one teach one or two, we'll make it out in relatively short order.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when we make it, we don't look back. You see what I'm saying? We don't look back. And I always say, if you want to know what goes on in what's going on with a man or a woman, walk a mile in their shoes.
Mm-hmm.
If you understand all they've gone through. You see what I'm saying? If you've never been through this, how that's why I look at it. Anytime I look at a CEO of a company that's never done the job, there's no way you can understand what these people go through.
Yeah.
Okay, you can't. Not unless you've done it. When you've done it, then you can explain.
Mm-hmm.
But you haven't gone through that, so you can't understand. There's no way you can understand. There's no way.
Yeah.
So one of it is you've got to allow yourself. You've got to allow yourself to understand that you're not alone. Whatever you're going through, probably 70-80% of the people that's around you are going through the same thing. So if we all come together, oh my God, the synergy, the power that creates, man, it's amazing.
Okay, so you brought me to start thinking about our mental health and the things that we're so afraid, like if you have a job that has a medical plan, which many of us do, most all medical plans have some type of mental health provided in there, some type of therapy, some part of where you can go talk. And so
small print, though. It's in small print.
It's a small print and it's hidden from us. And our counterparts in some of our, I guess I just say the white neighborhoods or some of the Asian, those people live at the therapist. I mean, they have somebody that says, "Whoa, let me get this off of my chest, so then now I can go move forward and make a difference." Right?
Brian, the other part is we're so busy surviving.
Yeah.
You see, when you're surviving, it's one traumatic situation after another, brother. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's one thing after another. You're dealing with it. There's no time. There is literally no time. It costs. Okay, it costs. And then what you got, if the resources are not there, yeah, you could have all the help you want to. But if it's not there, it's it meant, dude, there's a bag across the river. It's the river's going 80 miles an hour. There's a bag of money across the river, but you got to swim to get there. How you gonna get there if I don't give you no resources, no means? You see what I'm saying? So it's hard because I always say, the other half is living their lives, but this half here is too busy surviving.
Yeah,
we don't have time to. We don't have time to process and that's what builds up in the trauma.
Yeah, no, yeah. When we start really thinking about, how do we make sure, like one of the things that I want to do with the Journey to Freedom, that's part of the program, and the reason that we're going to go to Alabama on the civil rights tour is because I want to create transformative groups of men that can come together have conversations, deep conversations that allow us to break those chains of resources, if even it's finding resources, but more so having those conversations that will allow us to be able to move forward. Because we get so stuck, like you've been talking about, we get so stuck in, looking in the mirror and not finding ourselves enough, not finding
Mm-hmm.
ourselves worthy, not believing that we should be the person that's on top, that the person that has the ability to do stuff, because we haven't seen it. One of the things, I was talking to a lady who's doing a story on me for the book, and she was saying, why did you write the book? Why did you put the things together? And I said, the thing comes out is I keep hearing people say, I finally found somebody who looked like me, somebody that was doing what I want to do, that I could say they did it. And, that's a theme that comes up. I mean, were there people in your world or people that you looked up to that you said, I think I can do this because I finally found somebody that looked like me that could do it?
Brian, shamefully no.
Okay.
This is pure Energizer Bunny right here, pal.
All
This
right.
is this is just
I
just
love it.
this innate belief in me that it's possible
Mm-hmm.
and I can do it.
Gotcha.
I can do it. I will do it. And so yes, would it have been a lot easier road if I
Mm-hmm.
had that? Yes, absolutely. The I had one gentleman one time. I was doing an interview with him, and he said, "You know what, John? I don't understand why more of boards around the country, company boards members don't look like you. We don't have more of you, you know." And I told him right then and I said, "Well, it starts with you, my friend. It starts with you saying yes to this one, and then watch how you know you needless to say, he didn't hire me. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, the gatekeepers are there. So what I'm trying to do, Brian, is I'm trying to create my own board. Okay, where I don't have to ask you for nothing. Okay, I have my own, and that's and that in itself is a journey, and it's difficult because you have to think of everything else that I don't have readily available to me. Okay, where man, I could have all the knowledge and all the skills I want, but if I don't have the wherewithal to make those things happen, you know what I'm saying? It's like I'm a surgeon, but my fingers are messed up. You know what I'm saying? I can't keep my hands still, but I know what to do. But this is what's happening. So to say to you, did I have any like mentors, anybody that's done it that looked like me? I have not come across that. I have
Well,
not come
that's
across that.
it's how do we look? I mean, so when you think about our kids, right, and the mentors that they have, or the people that they're looking up to, because there's not somebody that's right next to them. So you'll go, whether it's an entertainer, right, because they see sometimes what, like, somebody who's really good at pretending they're somebody else. I
Hmm.
think of I think of a Denzel Washington, right? An amazing, amazing actor. And I think he's a good human on the other side of it. I mean, I'm not
Hmm.
saying that he's not, but I don't know. I don't know Denzel. I know the person that he's pretending to be, and he's incredible at it. And yet we look up to him as if, sometimes even the roles that he plays, right? He plays Malcolm X, and now we look up to him as Malcolm X, not as
Right.
Denzel Washington. And so, when I look at some things and I see like people that, I can remember as an athlete and looking up to like Muhammad Ali, who's, he was the great, he told everybody he was the greatest, right? And I guess he backed it up and proved it as people that I say, well, at least I know I could probably be a good boxer. He's a good boxer. I saw that
Hmm.
he did that. And now I see, but like how many doctors and engineers and astronauts and things in these other parts of society that we don't see all the time.
Because our society does not glorify. They glorify the basketball player, the football player.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Not realize, statistically speaking, the odds are so against you. You can't. You're not gonna make it. But you don't. We don't glorify the doctors. We don't glorify the plumbers.
Mm-hmm.
Those are what. And I'm telling you, plumbers make serious money. You know what I'm saying? But we that's not what we glorify. Go out and go. If you go out here and ask 100 kids, I bet you they want to ball. They want to ball. They want to have all, do this, because that's what society, projects out to them. Wow. You see what I'm saying? You remember, we had the Cosby Show.
Yes, we did.
The Cosby Show. Was a doctor and a lawyer. Okay. A doctor and a lawyer. How does that project to the family?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That showing the kids that it's possible. Okay. Like a Barack Obama.
Yeah.
Okay. Or a Hillary Clinton for the women. Or geez, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank right now. Kamala Harris. You know what I'm saying? Or Kamala Harris, who is breaking barriers right now. I believe these are things that we're looking at now, mm-hmm. that we may not even see what the effects of for years to come, because now you're seeing these kids are now seeing. So far, all we've projected them: football players, basketball players, you know what I'm saying? Sports. You know what I'm saying? But we don't push engineering. We don't push architecture. We don't push, mm-hmm. any of that. You see what I'm saying? So when we start projecting these kids that, yes, you can do this. You can do this. You can own Wall Street. You can own this. You can do, you know what I'm saying? And they start seeing examples of it, then you will be able to see that. But other than that, bro, it's
that is so. So what I want to do, because we're down to our time, is we'll come back. We will do another show. We will talk about
absolutely money. Man. We have to. Yeah,
we will, absolutely. Is there anything you want to leave everybody with? Anything that whoever watches this, whoever spends the time hearing the things that we're saying, what else would you want to leave with them as we end our time together?
I'm going to say, be to someone else what you're trying to get from a mentor. Okay. Be that to someone else. Each one teach one. That's how we break that cycle.
Absolutely. Or service to others. That
is
huge.
Yes. That's the baseline. That's it right there. Service to others. Service to others.
Wow. Well, John, thank you for being on today. Thank you for being part of this podcast, being part of the journey to freedom. I'm hoping that I can convince you at some point, at least when we go to the museum or something, to drive down and spend some time with us as we continue to grow. I will have you back on. We will do some more of this. And for those of you who are watching, whatever it takes to, I don't know how to put the subscribe button and the bell button, click whatever those things are that show up, because we are showing you America. We are showing you folks that have made it, folks that are not that they've ended their life, that have made it to certain points in their life where they have the ability to give back. And they have the ability to show you what you can do so that you can achieve the things that you were put on this earth to do. And that's the main thing. So you guys have a wonderful, just incredible day today. Don't forget, you are God's greatest gift, and he loves you if you allow him to. And I can't wait to see you on another edition of the Journey to Freedom podcast. You guys have a great day. Bye.